Hi, I'm Leo Popic, the founder and CEO of Leading Peers. Welcome to another Leading Peers Masterclass. In our Masterclass series, Leading Peers provides open and free access to education from experts to help CEOs succeed. In today's Masterclass, we will learn from David Goodman, a certified peer board leader in Leading Peers. I've asked David to share with us why a sustainability certification has become and will increasingly be a highly valuable source of competitive advantage. Which types of businesses can most benefit from a sustainability certification and how businesses can attain one? David, take it away.
Thank you, Leo, and thank all of you for attending this on a Good Friday. I will get right into it because we got a lot of data to cover. So the topic is using sustainability certification to differentiate. Let's start with a definition of environmental sustainability, and I'll read the top one here because it's the most used in the world. The ability to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Now let's use our definition of corporate environmental sustainability. Maximize performance and return. Let me repeat that. Maximize performance and return without compromising the environment or future generations via continual improvement of awareness, health, operation, and efficiency of the organization, and promotion of sustainability certification and performance achievements and successes to all internal and external stakeholders. Now, that's a mouthful. What do we just say? We're going to seek profit and performance. We're not going to compromise the environment. We're going to continually improve, and we're going to talk about it. If we don't talk about it, people don't know we did it. They can't reward us for it. What are we going to talk about today? First thing we're going to touch on are the four legs of the stool. You got sustainability certification, carbon neutrality, ESG, and net zero. Then we're going to talk about why you should consider sustainability certification. And then finally, how do you pick a program should you even want to? Who are we talking to? Who is this for? Well, we're talking to an SME, a small to mid-size enterprise. In the United States, that's an entity up to $1 billion in run rate at a location. We would all agree that Chase is over $1 billion, but its branches aren't. McDonald's is over $1 billion, but its restaurants aren't. So we're talking about a business, but the business has to be somewhere. In Europe and Asia, the cap of what is defined as an SME by governments is usually about half of what we use here in the States, so it's about $500 million. This is 99% of all global businesses and 67% of global employment. In effect, small to mid-size enterprise is the engine that drives the world economy. So here is the key question that I want to put on the table for you and for you to think about as we go through this presentation and then once this is over. Given that 25% of all consumers, that's both B2B and B2C, we call them the innovators, they've already made purchase decisions based on sustainability. So that's a quarter. Given that the next group, the early adapters, 20 to 40 some odd percent, are currently willing to move their purchases and loyalty if they find a legitimate, i.e. a certified, verified, sustainable option. And I'm going to be talking about sustainability and certified sustainable throughout this conversation, but basically, certification or verification is you proving that your claims are true. Given that the early majority, late majority, and laggards follow the innovators and early adapters, the question on the table is, which group do you want to align with? Do you want to be ahead of your competitive peers and take market share, or do you want to hold back, let somebody else jump in to see if the water is deep or cold, and then try to catch back up later? So that's the question on the table for you. As to the four legs of the stool, driven by all stakeholders, consumer demand, client demand, investor demand, employee demand, government regulations, organizations of all kinds will need to become legitimately, i.e., be able to prove that you're sustainable. Then you are going to face carbon neutrality, ESG, and ultimately a net zero plan. These can be spread out over many, many years. The first two, sustainability and carbon neutrality, need to happen fairly quickly. The last two can be delayed. Using government regulations as an example, by the end of this year, the majority of the world's economies will require public companies to report on sustainability and or carbon neutrality and or ESG. And you're thinking, wow, we're not a public company. We can dodge that bullet. Well, public companies are then mandated via both internal regulations and government compliance to include their supply chain, i.e. you. So the question is not if, but when a company becomes sustainable. Now let's talk about the process or the going through those four legs of the stool. Sustainability certification, i.e. the E in ESG, environment, social, governance. So the E in ESG, it's got the greatest ROI. It's got the greatest benefit for your company. It is where you should start. It gives you good benefit on the cost side and on the revenue side of your business. And if you pick the right one, it can serve as the foundation for the other three legs of the stool. So you could, at a later time, do them, should you wish, at a cost and at a time commitment that is very reasonable. Carbon neutrality comes next. I won't bore you with why, but it is a very, very consistent second step to sustainability certification. ESG and net zero are much further down the list for private companies. Net zero is the big brother to carbon neutrality. Carbon neutrality is the carbon emissions that your company produces in and of itself. Net zero includes all the things in orbit around your company, i.e. vendors. More things than vendors, but for purposes of this discussion, think of vendors as being what's required for net zero. ESG, which, by the way, let's not get into politics, but ESG is working very nicely for companies at the operational level. Whatever the financial markets are doing or not doing with regard to packaging ESG companies into funds, we can leave that for a different discussion with different people. But at an operational level, at a company, ESG is profitable. So let's not worry about the last three. Let's focus on the first leg of the stool, sustainability certification. Why should an organization become certified sustainable? Well, it's the right thing to do. I could stop there. We could end this conversation and everybody get on with your day. Second point, it gives you a competitive advantage. 7 out of 10 consumers, as we discussed before, will change their brand due to confirmation of sustainability commitment. Your costs are going to go down. Your cost of money, both debt and equity, and your ability to source money will become easier. Cost will go down and your ability to source will become easier. Consumers are looking for certified sustainable companies. The majority of consumers are. Your clients will support it. Large organizations are mandated to select a certified sustainable vendor if one of them is bidding a job. Next, your ability to hire and retain top talent will increase. Employees, existing employees, are asking for it, and their performance will increase. They will be more proud of the company they work for. Government regulations are requiring it. Let's touch again about the difference between carbon neutrality and net zero. You hear about all these big companies talking about pursuing net zero at some point down the road in the future. They're going to get to be net zero by 2030 or 2040 or whatever. For a company to become net zero, it has to include its scope 3. Its scope 3 are its vendors. That's you. So when government regulations require compliance for bigger companies, those bigger companies, as per what scope 3 is, include you. It is possibly the top competitive differentiation tool, which will lead to significant sales gains. And finally, based on many, many studies, certified sustainable companies are growing anywhere between 75% and 20 times faster than the non-certified peers. So let's bookend this. First point, it's the right thing to do. Last point, you'll make more money. So let's start with the question. What does a small to mid-size enterprise need the most? Per studies, the number one thing that all businesses, not just SMEs, all businesses need is competitive differentiation. Convincing the consumer to buy from you versus the guy down the street. Why is competitive differentiation harder for SMEs? Well, large companies are marketing centric. They have the budgets to create branding. Their brands, i.e. Tony the Tiger, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, are separate entities than the corporation that created them. So those brands have the ability to stand on their own, and they have the marketing support. But SMEs are more sales-centric, far more dependent on face-to-face selling, pressing the flesh, getting in front of the prospect and talking to them, far more personal, direct interaction. And as to the brand, it's often the individuals. It's often the people in the small to mid-sized enterprise that carry that brand image that moves the company forward. But what has the internet done? The internet is a platform for consumers to review you without you getting to press the flesh. And they're making go-no decisions before you get a chance to have that face-to-face interaction. COVID, as we all know, has accelerated this, and the under 40 consumer, which is the largest consumer group and the future of your business, they use the internet first. And what is the number one thing they're looking for? Sustainability certification, or proof of sustainability. Per Google, corporate sustainability searches are up over 800%. 9 out of 10 consumers want your company to be sustainable. Have we already touched on 7 out of 10 are open for convincing to change? They're open to be moved to you if you are a certified sustainable company. 25% have already made the decision, and the next, we call it 30, 35% are in play right now. We know, when you watch the news, there's explosive interest in carbon neutrality, net zero, ESG. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's focused on it. Data says it's about a $100 trillion opportunity. So why not just hang a sign? Why not just say, hey, we're sustainable, come and buy from us? Well, it would do more harm than good. Besides the risk of being called a greenwasher, the vast majority of consumers, 70% of all consumers and over 90% of the under 40 consumer, disbelieve a company that makes claims that are not verified, certified. And this goes broader than just sustainability. This is in everything. I mean, there's a huge amount of puffery in advertising. My toothpaste will give you the whitest white. So you got so much puffery that consumers have obviously pulled back, and they want verification. I mean, why are testimonials so important? Why are references so important now? Because we just don't trust corporate claims. But in our industry, if a company is certified, has a valid certification to prove validity, then that number flips. 70% of consumers and over 90% of the under 40 consumer believe those claims. So if you just go out and hang a sign, they're not going to believe you. If you have the validity of a certification, the majority of consumers will believe you. And how are certified sustainable companies performing versus their non-certified peers? Well, they're lapping the field. If you look at data from MIT, they'll say that certified sustainable companies are growing 75% faster. New York University's Stern School of Business says it's about 7x, about 700%. Symbala did a study, showed 20x. A group called BAR did a study. That's the last three numbers here, the net income, sales gains, EBITDA, Boston Consulting Group, Forbes, Unilever. I mean, everybody has studies out there. Pick the spread, but there's a spread. There's a significant spread between non-certified sustainable companies and certified sustainable companies. So is it worth it? Is it worth considering? Well, 9 out of 10 consumers want you to be certified sustainable. 7 out of 10 will move their business. Large companies are mandated to use sustainable vendors. Regulations are coming online. Most big companies are already promoting their sustainability. That means that 97% already have sustainability programs. That means that 97% has to use by mandate sustainable vendors if available. Do they ask for them? No, because the next point, less than 1% of SMEs currently have sustainability validation. So the big companies don't ask because they 99% chance that their potential vendors aren't going to have it. But if you have it and you wave the flag and say, oh, by the way, it puts them in a box. It puts them in a position where as long as your product is not too expensive or not consistent in quality, you got a good chance of winning that job. Financial benefits, as we already discussed, are very compelling. And oh, by the way, you get rewarded for doing a good thing. So back to the initial question. If it's the right thing to do, if regulations are coming, if all stakeholders want you to do it, if it helps you differentiate and level the playing field against some competitors or maybe take market share away from competitors, if you make more money, which group are you going to align with? You're going to get in front and take market share, or are you going to hold back and let somebody else take market share and try to catch up? What now? Let's first revisit that word again, certification. Why do we need certification at all? Why can't we just pursue sustainability internally? If you know what to do and you do everything right and you have a phenomenal sustainability program, you will help the environment. Thank you very much. That is the number one thing you should be commended. However, the marketplace is not going to believe you did it, even if you did a great job. It's not going to impact the revenue side of your P&L. It's not going to impact your brand, your revenues, your profits, because they're just not going to believe it. And you're not going to get past your compliance issues. Just saying, trust me, is not going to fly. You're going to ultimately have to have something to back up your words with both consumers and government regulations. So, to maximize benefit of corporate environmental sustainability, we recommend you find a program that offers these 8 components. I'll list them and we'll go through them very quickly. Employee performance health enhancement. That sounds odd, and we'll talk about that in a second. Certify the business, not the box. Third-party audit. Use a global standard. Promotion of the certification. Continual improvement. Annual update, and obviously it's got to be affordable price. First, employee performance. Sustainability is not just about energy savings or greening up. It's about people. For most of your businesses, Employees are your biggest cost, possibly your biggest risk, obviously your biggest opportunity. That's where the brain thrust is. Every organization in the world suffers from what we call the big five: insomnia, stress, anxiety, physical pain, and mental acuity. Your company right now is losing about 5% of your corporate profit every year to the big five. In the United States, that equates to about $10,000 per full-time employee per year. If you got 10 employees, take $100,000 off your profit line every year due to those. It takes a lot of LEDs to make up for one workplace violence event. Make sure your sustainability program has a people piece that addresses employee performance, health, and happiness. Sustainability starts with people, doesn't start with energy savings or LEDs or solar panels. Certify the business, not the box. People care about things that involve people. Most building certifications, like a LEED certified building, only care about the box, the energy that the box uses, not what goes on inside the box. Those certifications, although wonderful from an energy efficiency standpoint, they're expensive and they're hard to monetize. You want to say, buy more of my product because we're a certified sustainable business. You don't get a whole lot of value out of buy more of my product because we are in somebody else's energy efficient building, or we are in an energy efficient building. The difference in those two statements is significant in terms of your ability to brand. You want that certification on your business, not on the building your business is in. Audit. Like everything in life, oversight delivers credibility and trust. Everything that you have in terms of your credibility, your college degree, whether you sat for the bar, your CPA, driver's license, anything that you have where you can put in front of somebody else and say, here, I'm credible, it comes from some other entity validating where that you met a standard, that you passed a test, that you did something. Somebody else had to verify that. There are many sustainability programs that will send you a piece of paper if you send them a check. Don't do it. Don't do it. They don't have credibility. You will tear up that check. You will not gain from using a standard or a program that doesn't have a third-party audit. Use a global standard. The world of sustainability is maturing and coalescing around the big standard. Just like in every industry, as industries mature, the powerful, most respected players, the cream rises at the top, as they say. Don't waste your money on a small local startup program. Years from now, it may be wonderful. Years from now, it may be the best there is. But right now, for your money, pick a respected global standard to back your brand. Also, that global standard can provide the foundation for, as we mentioned before, the other three legs of the stool. Promotion of the certification. Historically, sustainability has been a cost side play, i.e., give me a bag of money, I'll buy some LEDs, I'll put them in, and I'll lower your energy bill. Most sustainability programs are all about the cost side of your P&L. However, we know that consumers are looking for sustainable companies. If you don't talk about it, they don't know you did it. So make sure that when you pick a program, that entity brings you the revenue side along with the cost side. Make sure that they help you promote that certification. Make sure they help you take the word out to the marketplace so that you get the attaboys along with the energy savings. I mean, the energy savings is great, and the environmental work that you're doing is fantastic. You should get the attaboys for it. And what that does to the ROI is dramatic. Continual improvement. Sustainability is not finite. It requires long-term commitment, but change is hard for all of us. If the bar is set too high right off the bat, we get frustrated and we give up. You want a program that lets you come in as you are. We have some people that come in and they're very far along in their sustainability journey. That's great. They got to get better. We have some that are just starting. That's great too. They got to get better. You want a program that allows you to continually improve at your pace, at a pace that makes you happy, that makes your staff happy. You want, at the end of the year, everybody to look at each other and say, that was fun, let's do it again. If that doesn't happen, then the whole effort was for naught. So find a program that allows you to continually improve, allows everybody to continually smile, and they want to do it again. Oh, by the way, got to be affordable. We could have started with this, but we needed to establish those other 7 points. So incorporating those other 7 points, it obviously has to be something you can afford. And that cost, both in money and time, includes the certification proper, the improvements that you're going to do as part of your sustainability effort, and that third-party audit that we were talking about. So in other words, the whole shebang, everything. It's got to be a cost that you can justify, that you can afford, regardless of return on investment. You're going to be nervous at first, so it's got to be something that you can afford. Let's talk about the things you're scared of. First, change. None of us like change. Change is scary. Second, getting up to speed enough to make a decision. All of us in leadership positions, we want to be sure of ourselves. And so this being a new topic, having enough confidence that you're making a wise decision is scary. And then staff time. You know, we're really busy around here. We'd love to do it, but you know, everybody's got the day job. So your fears are change, getting up to speed, and staff time. With that, I hand it back to Leo.
David, not much to add. This has been a phenomenal masterclass. Thank you all for attending, and we look forward to making this available in our YouTube channel for our global audience of global leaders looking to upskill, get empowered, and deliver more value and service to the world. Thank you, David. A wonderful morning.